Hiya! Let's move on to the next list of modern Russian writers. If you haven't watched the first part, it will be somewhere here. Start from it and then let's move on. So, hop on something comfy, grab a cup of coffee, tea, kombucha, whiskey, whatever you fancy, and let's start. Dmitry Glukhovsky. His novels fall into several genres: post-apocalypse, dystopia, and mysticism mainly. One of the most famous series of his novels is devoted to the subway. These are books Metro 2033, 2034, and 2035. The series depicts the Moscow subway inhabited by people after the nuclear holocaust. You might be also aware of a video game by the same name, Metro 2033. It's the first-person shooter.
These things I have done. My hands are blackened with blood. My soul is damned to purgatory.
The quote from the book: "The one who has the guts and enough patience to peer into the gloom will be the first one to see a flash of light through it." Despite belonging to the world of fantastic tales, Dmitry wrote one novel in the genre of realism modern prose. It's called Text, and it has been screened. It tells the story of a person who was sentenced to jail to several years in prison on a false charge. When he leaves the jail, he notices how life has changed. Digital technologies rule the world and everybody is dependable on their smartphones and gadgets. While taking the phone of his rival, the main character steals his life.
Телефон стал для души резервным хранилищем. В нем самые яркие наши воспоминания. Счастье есть! Мы храним свой смех в фотографиях и минуты счастья в видео. В чатах признания в любви.
Linor Goralik. Linor is a pseudonym. Her real name is Julia. She had been living in Israel for many years until she moved to Moscow. Most of all, I like her comic strips about Hare and his imaginary friends. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to find its translation into English. It's only in Russian, but still, I want you to read it if possible. It's really hilarious, and its heroes contemplate on religion, politics, and haute cuisine, and so many other topics. It's not so breezy to translate it right on the spot, because Linor Goralik uses a lot of wordplay, but I'll give you one quote. "Hey, maybe you should stop being a Russian poet. Maybe you should be some other poet." Not only is Linor a writer, she is also a successful marketer and a social media manager. She works as a freelancer and has her own Telegram channel. Telegram is a Russian messenger where she shares useful tips. I won't share the link to it here because it's a very niche product, but if you are interested in it, please write in the comments below. And regarding education, she's a coder. On top of it, she works as an editor and a columnist. So what a gifted person. I bet I was like that. As far as I remember, such people are called multipotentials or scanners. Alexei Ivanov. He's a true Russian writer with his innate interest to Russian language, culture, soul, spirit. He wasn't successful for many long years. He had been writing novels that no one wanted to publish. But he didn't give in and made ends meet while working as a teacher, school teacher, a watchman, and a tour guide. Later, he made it in life and he became an author. His main genre is urban prose, but he also wrote historic novels, thriller books, and he worked in the genre of fantasy. One of the most outstanding novels is Geographer Globus Propil. The geographer drank his globe away. There is no translation of this book in English yet. It is going to be released later. I don't know when. But right now you can read it. You can read the French version if you know this language. I don't. Still, I leave the link below in the description. The book tells the story of an ordinary school teacher who works in a Russian school, earns a low salary, but has passion for educational process and for Russia, probably for our country. The book has been screened with Konstantin Khabinsky, a very sought-after actor, in the starring role.
Geographer, вам вообще ничего не надо.
Ты новенькая?
А не, Виктор Сергеевич, это вы новенький, а Маша здесь с 1 класса.
Кроме мобильников.
На что похоже?
На солнце?
На вечный взрыв.
Apart from fiction stories, Alexei writes non-fiction books on studies of our local lore. He has keen on our history and geography. Now back to the book about the teacher of geography and the quote. You find it only when you don't know what you're seeking, and you realize that you found it only when you had lost it. Yevgeni Grishkovetz. He's famous not only for writing novels in the genre of modern prose, but also for taking part in his theatrical performances where he acts and reads out his monologues and abstracts from his novels. All of his books are based on the real experience of Yevgeni. He resembles people, places, associations, events from the past and creates books out of it. And the most famous one of the most famous and noticeable is «Как я съел собаку», How I Ate a Dog. It depicts a story of a sailor and his maturation. I didn't manage to find this book in English, I'm sorry, but I advise you to listen to the Russian audiobook. The quote, and you didn't get offended, 'cause don't know yet how to get offended. As soon as you learn to get offended, this very second, not the next one, you'll learn to offend.
А чего ж мне так страшно было ехать? А что ж такого страшного у меня было в жизни до этой поездки на восток, чтобы я мог вот так думать, что у меня что-то было в жизни страшное, а туда доедем и будет еще страшнее.
However, I've found one novel by Grishkovetz in English for you. It's called The Hemingway Game, and the original Russian name is Rubashka, shirt. It paints a story, one day of the life of a Muscovite, Alexander. He's an architect, What's more, Yevgeny also acts in Russian movies, and he had a leading role in the movie called Satisfaction. Satisfaction, not in the meaning of pleasure or something. It's like in the meaning of a duel, word duel, or some other duel. And he was one of the script writers to this movie.
А больше никого не будет?
А никто не нужен.
Чего ты хочешь?
Сатисфакции. Полной сатисфакции. Оружие, не бойся, будет не смертельное. Алкоголь. Будет что-то вроде дуэли. И у меня, как у обиженной страны, право выбора оружия.
Max Frei. It used to be a pen name of two authors, a married couple. And the audience wasn't aware of who that mythical guy Max Frei was. But later we found out the truth. Years passed and the male author passed away. His wife, having lost her husband, Svetlana Martinchik, continued writing on her own. She has written about 60 novels, so she's very productive. The genre is fantasy detective, and there are many different series of books, and the most well-received one is called Labyrinths of Echo. You can start with the first book of the cycle, The Stranger. You will get acquainted with the magical world Echo, where a detective investigates a series of murder cases. Now the quote. When you know what to talk to a person about, that's the sign of mutual sympathy. When you've got something to keep silent about, that's the beginning of true friendship. Mariam Petrosyan. She is an author of a successful book for children, but please don't switch off if you don't have kids. Her novel is like a Pixar movie. It can be captivating for both grown-ups and youngsters. So this book is called Дом в котором, The Grey House. Mariam was writing this novel for many years when she was on maternity leave, and the setting is a boarding school for disabled children. This is a metaphor to describe our society, contemporary society. The Grey House is hard to read. It's not everyone's liking, but you should give it a go. My favorite quote is very short. There is no happier man than a true fool. I guess I'm done talking here. Buy at least one of these books and have some fun. Push this button that will probably appear somewhere on the screen. Yeah, this one. Subscribe, especially this one. I need it. I need you to push it and to make somebody push it too. See ya.